Hello and welcome. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with George Fox, the COO and co-founder of Linq AI. George has an impressive background that spans military operations, tech startups, and international business. Also, notably, he has transformed ARC from a 200K market cap project to a $300 million high, led Depot, a crypto aggregator, to generate over 200 million in volume and increased Severn offshore services turnover from 250K to 8.2 million pounds in just 3 years. George, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing today?
Thanks very much. No, I'm doing well. How are you?
All could not have been, better. So yeah, I guess I can go ahead with the first question and we can just kick it off.
Sure. So let us start off on a lighter note. I think you were discussing it when I joined the meeting, but I'd still like to start off on a light note and ask George about whether it is coming home this year and what are his views on England's chances at the Euro. I'm quite critical. I don't think they're playing well enough at the moment to win anything. If I'm honest, I'm surprised we've got this far, Sahil, based on the lackluster performances. So no, I would be very surprised to see England even in the final. So yeah, sorry, not the answer you maybe wanted to hear.
But no, I support England as well, and I have been very critical myself. So exactly the answer I wanted to hear.
Okay, good.
Anyway, let's kick off.
Let's kick off with the real deal now. That is.
Yeah, I would just like to add on, still we have positives, we have Kobe Mainu and Gareth Southgate has been, not doing that great, but yeah, let's just come back to crypto. That's not doing great as well right now, but okay, that's okay. So yeah, so George, I would like to ask you that your background, it's incredibly diverse, as I mentioned, from military operations to tech startups, you have successfully grown companies like ARC and Depot. So I would like to ask you that what strategies do you believe are key to scaling a tech startup in particular, and how are you applying these at Linq AI?
Yeah, that's a very good question, very deep question. We haven't had that one before. For me, if it sort of comes twofold, really. With every business, every startup, it's the full absorption of what you do. You need to live the job. You can't look at it like a 9-to-5 job. It's just full on. And if you take your foot off the pedal in that startup stage, inevitably you will lose steam. So, that first strategy is finding something that you're passionate about so you can live it, and understanding the importance of that. And the second sort of I guess basic facet would be the fact that all business revolves around people. You have to have people, good people around you, because there's no business that you can run on your own. So there has to be that sort of element of trust, and surround yourself with good people. Like any business, it's the same principle. In fact, if you can't trust the people below you to do the job, you spend all your time micromanaging, that then you will inevitably you're going to fail. So I would say it would be live what you do and find good people.
Yeah, and that's an amazing answer to that, I guess. I was also looking at your LinkedIn last night, like I mentioned it before the start of the interview. So yeah, I was really impressed at seeing you, how you've been working with these tech startups. And I was a big fan of ARC in the AI sector, right? I was closely following you and also ARC back then. So yeah, it's great to have you back with another new project. And yeah, Sahil, you can go ahead with the other questions so we can move forward.
Am I audible? Sorry for the disconnection if it was there.
Yeah, so I wrote an article on Linq AI last month for our blog, for a project review of yours, and I was very fascinated about the small yet very important problem of automated workflows that Linq has targeted, right? And we at Arcryptop, we are a small business. We are a growing startup, and previously I worked with SME companies, and such a delicate issue because everyone in AI right now, I think, wants to do the next big thing, whereas the real world challenges are not being solved by anyone. Till I saw Linq AI and saw that you're trying to solve the problems that the everyday worker has. So could you tell us more about how this idea came about, and what is the vision, what is the mission behind the workflows, the automatedness using AI and all that. Would love your insight.
Yeah, I mean, another brilliant question. Really, I think you've really hit the nail on the head. Is that a lot of people that are trying to compete with Anthropic, with OpenAI, they're trying to go toe to toe with big players, and every now and then you will get someone will rise to the top, but inevitably, to make a good idea successful and to compete, you've still got to have loads of different things align. Financial backing. You've got to have the ability to market that product. So it's really tricky to go and go to bat with, or go out and try and bat against some of those big boys. So yeah, we've highlighted that we want to take that technology, that generative AI, and utilize it. And lots of people are not we're not the only ones doing it, but we've really highlighted that sort of real world problem. We feel that a lot of crypto projects are just focused into crypto, so they try and solve a crypto problem, whether it be a Telegram bot for trading or sentiment. And if you think about that, as good as that is, and as sort of like cool as it is, the niche, the addressable market's tiny for people who want that, right? So you see this big explosion of AI products, and then if you're looking at the chart now, and looking at all the different charts, massive fall away now because people realize it's kind of flash in the pan stuff. So we focused on real world problems because I've started up, as you said, from my background, loads of small businesses in different sectors, and the problems are the same, right? The problems are the same for any small business, and that is competing with bigger businesses that are more credible and trying to sort of, again, match them on a level where, that they can provide some, a service. So automation of workflows is huge. The idea is Logan's idea. He had a previous business before he worked for Arc. That business was pretty much sort of like a platform for designers. Anyway, I won't go too much into it, but the whole concept has come from his mind, really, to be honest with you. We've sort of developed the idea since then, but it's kind of endless, right? Like this space is endless. If you think about the sort of, whether it be invoicing, marketing, these are all sort of workflows that you can portion off to some form of automation. So I think we were trying to come up with some analogies, and I think that the similar one was oil and gas companies, right? There's maybe 8, 10, Shell, Chevron, Exxon, very small amount, but there must be thousands of people that provide pipes, drilling equipment, and all the things that go on to support that industry. It's kind of the same with electricity. I think it was something, don't quote me, but like maybe 12 years after electricity that the first refrigerator was made, like a long time. So we're right on the heels of these generative AI companies, and as they release new products, I think that the sensible thing for companies our position is to make sure you set yourself up for them to get better. We harp on about it a lot, and we say that, I think Sam Altman said, if GPT-5, if you're scared as a business owner of GPT-5, then you're in the wrong industry. Again, don't quote me on those exact terms, but the point is that the better they get, the better we get with our tools, and the more we can do. So we have a tool called Linq Hub coming out within the imminently, is what I'll say. And you'll see on there the suite of tools that we are now working on. So yeah, we're incredibly excited. There's always too much you can do with the technology.
That's a good answer. And I particularly like the point that in crypto, we often say that this particular narrative is the cool thing of a particular bull run, right? It was at DeFi, NFTs, sometimes it's gaming, it's RWAs these days, all the hype, right? So I like the idea of not having to be the cool thing with AI. As you said, people are trying to compete with OpenAI, which personally, with my technical background in software engineering, I think it's a little difficult to do. Not a little, but a lot. There's a lot of difficulty involved there. But the idea behind solving real world problems with the AI technology that we have at hand, I think that will persist out of the narrative, right? Even if the AI hype drops down, people will still work, right? People will still do invoicing. People will still send those client emails, right? So I think that is a very long-term vision that you've shown here. So, for example, just an example for our viewers here, if we as a client want to automate our email sending, for example, through a workflow with Linq AI, would we have a pre-made template available for us, or would we have to give our own inputs and then the process would start?
Okay, that is a type of workflow automation, but to give you to maybe sort of paint the picture a little better, we have sort of these different tools that we will develop sequentially. Obviously, you've got to make sure you develop the tool well enough to give it the support, as opposed to just getting bored and moving on. But Marketr being the first tool, which is that sort of, if you think of Hootsuite, but with the whole ideation of the idea right the way through to creation. So and we've spoken to we've got companies in the UK through our PR company already using it now, that love it, because it does 85% of their heavy lifting for the creative stuff. They can do a few tweaks, they click it, and that's it. They can move on to the next thing. And that's the whole point, is if you've got a business owner that can do 6 or 7 workflows and have them all automated, the time they save is crazy. But to go back to your question about the email automation, yeah, that would be an example. We haven't got that sort of nailed down, that specific workflow, but our second one is Creator, which is the text to image generation, which is, if you see any, you'll know from the Will Smith eating pasta video or spaghetti to where it is now from video generation, it's coming on leaps and bounds. So again, that is a tool that we've created using Stable Diffusion 3, Stable Diffusion Ultra, and that will be fed into a UI, and it will sell on its platform, and it will be a SaaS product. And then we have some others like Designer, Predictor, Manager, Composer. Then there's a few of them that we have ideas for. We haven't said too much about them because they can be copied. That they can be copied, and I think for us the secret sauce is in delivering quality products. They haven't got to be the most complicated thing in the universe. It just has to work and do a good job. Like, for example, Canva. You look at like Photoshop, Adobe's Photoshop versus Canva. But it's so hard to use, so complicated. Whereas Canva really hits the audience, and that's the other thing you've got to remember as a business owner. It might not be the best thing as a subject matter expert, but this is the best thing for the user. It's got to be what they think is the best thing for them as well. So there's a real sort of marry up with going with the tech and also going with what the customer's needs is.
Yeah, we shifted from Photoshop to Canva a couple of years ago.
Overpowered. But I mean, unquestionably, Photoshop is the far superior tool, right? But you almost need a degree, don't you, to work it properly? It's so confusing. So yeah, so that's kind of another good analogy I think to use is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'd like to add that, I mean, the way George mentioned that with Linq AI's tools, you get the, kind of template, the creative side of templates, which you can tweak afterwards, right? And which is very important in, saving time. I feel like with tools like Marketr, Analyzr, Engager, and a lot more, coming up next. So yeah, that's really great. And the Canva example was really great because Canva can give you templates, like it can help you with the thinking process, which you have to do otherwise on Photoshop, right? From scratch, you have to build from scratch. But then again, Photoshop is a far superior application. But then that for people, saving time is a priority. Most of the people have that priority these days, right? So yeah, coming back to the questions, like the tools, you have several exciting products like Marketr, Analyzr, Engager, and whatnot. So can you share some insights into these tools, any 3 of them, which you feel would, connect with the viewers and like in a very simple, blatant language that they can understand what it is all about and how it could, possibly help them?
Yeah, of course. I'll do a couple, and I'll just go into it briefly. So I'm obviously Marketr. It's probably worth mentioning that where we're focusing on is on true end-to-end automation. How many times you'll go online and you'll see, help compose with AI, or just, let AI tweak your grammar and stuff like that. It's just a very sort of one-dimensional assistant. So we're trying to take that technology and do a product from start to end. So it properly automates it and helps you using a lot of agents. Digressing, sorry. So Marketr is end-to-end social media marketing, essentially. That is in a nutshell. But when we built Marketr, there are some other products that almost exist inside of it. So Creator, we've just spoken about. We kept under wraps for ages and then just sort of shimmied it to the top to tease people, because it will be the first tool on top of Marketr that will stand alone on Linq Hub. The second that exists is Analyzr. At the moment, Analyzr exists in the Marketr Pro workflow, and it is essentially website ingestion, sources ingestion, and then it creates a SWOT analysis and an understanding. So much like some of these large language tools that exist, the open source ones, people take them, they tweak them around, they feed them some information, vector databases and other forms of databases to basically personalize it, right? It's kind of like that in the respects, but it's the cleverness is in the fact that the sources ingestion that we've gone with Claude as a large language model over OpenAI, purely because of the amount of input tokens that we can use for it to understand, and its recall is 1-to-1 better than OpenAI. It has less hallucination there. So Analyzr is basically SWOT analysis. If you've ever had to try and do a SWOT analysis, it's one that doesn't impress the devs. So as a software developer, yes, Hill, you might not be impressed by the technology, but for me, as a business owner, trying to write a SWOT analysis and understand the business and where it sits in the genres, I've never been that good at it. So it's a great tool. You can ingest websites, PDFs. You can ingest even things like flyers. If you're more of an old school business, you dump it all in there and analyze it. It tells you what your industry is. It understands, what your subgenre is, and understands who your competitors are. Where you're based locally, what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So kind of like an analysis tool. When that's released, it will be so much more. I can't go into too much more about it now because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. But at the moment, that's what it does inside of Marketr to understand how to then create a marketing campaign. So that technology is there, and it will be released as a standalone product. Composer will be sort of an article generation writing product, a small product as well there, and that will be sort of again fed onto Linq Hub. Designer is another interesting concept. Again, don't want to go too much into that, but that kind of ties in a bit of human workflow with AI workflow. It's, if you think of almost like a Fiverr or an Upwork, but so you'll be in Marketr, you'll have AI image generation, but you have the ability to then go through a third party graphics developer or designer as well. So that's a very loose way about how designer will work. And then there's Managr, which is an absolute beast. I won't go into that one, but that is a Marketr-sized project Managr, and involves a long period of time. So yeah, and again, we think of tools and concepts as we move through these workflows. Other things come up, so very exciting for us anyway.
If I'm a business owner and I'm starting off with my own business, so Analyzr can help me with the SWOT analysis part, the R&D part, and when I'm ready to get into a business, so I need to create stuff, for obviously for social media or for whatever. So for that, designer, creator can help me with those solutions, help me create some content, and Marketr can help me post it while I'm sleeping. So yeah, that solves the trilemma of a business. So that's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the products you're building, and whoever came up with these names is a genius. Marketr, Analyzr, designers. The missing E's stand for efforts which you don't have to put in. The tools do them for you. So that's crazy. Yes, you can go ahead with the next question.
No, I really like the names as well. I was going to point it out. So my question now, George, is why Web3 then? The tools are good enough. They're you could have done it on a Web2 platform, and I'm pretty sure you would have been just as successful. Why Web3? Why launch a token? Why get into all this hustle?
Again, great question. I did cover a section of that in the white paper on the grounds. The reason I did that was because, we had a few people that said, why launch a token? Why do this? Because so many people do just launch a token, be a tax farm, as a way to raise money. For us, the things about Web3 we love are smart contracts and the technology that surrounds that, and the immutable concept of blockchain. And there are some ideas we've got in the future actually to bring that in directly into the fold. But also with Web3, the tokenization element, the digital tokenization element of a business, we think is awesome. It's like it's marrying up that it's like a new age PLC. It's being able to sort of divisibly breaking down your company into these assets, and then creating a community. The other thing that's people harp on about the community element, and it's very much sort of just a buzzword, but having the community, I can't see the amount of good ideas we've had, the amount of pitfalls we've missed, because I've had a DM from someone saying, have you thought about this and this, and just sat there staring at the screen thinking, how have I not seen that element? So they are a test base. They do quality QA for us. They test products, and they are a voice as well. They go out there. So yeah, for us, it's a mixture of the technology, the community, and we think actually that, look at Larry Fink going on about tokenization of businesses and assets. It's a real clear cut on-chain concept of what you're doing. It's transparent. It's forward thinking. Business setup is very old-fashioned, shares, and especially if you're in the UK, you look at all the registers, it's all very old-fashioned. And so yeah, and we were in the space, right? AI works well with Web3 because people in Web3 are normally forward-thinking people. They're happy to step outside of that comfort zone and they're happy to go, it's frontier technology, isn't it? And AI is frontier technology, so they work well together. So for us, it made sense. It made sense for us to sort of, for all those reasons.
Yeah, I agree. And that was a very good point. I think community has been used as a buzzword I've seen some projects mention community and really, to be very honest, do nothing about it. But for a project like yours, maybe, as you mentioned, sometimes even simple things just skip our minds, right? Looking at the bigger picture, sometimes we're not even able to make out small things that the community might be able to find. And with the great tools, and again, with what you're building, the possibilities are endless. Marketr, Engager, you might end up with 250, 300, 350 tools of such kind. And the community would really help you out here with their demands, with their ideas. I think this is a project where the community does really matter. What do you think, Tanay?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to say on Linq Hub, we have a voting system. So we will put down 8 to 10 of our concepts, and there'll be, you vote, you pick. If I'm honest, I'm not a huge fan of a DAO system. I think it's too slow. I've watched it happen in parliaments and all these sort of processes in countries where you have to push things through. And I think there's an element of simplicity and beauty. If you have a good leader, look at the UAE, for example. Sheikh Mohammed, he'll get stuff done. Sure, it can go the other way if you have a bad sort of leadership role, but we like that. But also we know we don't have the monopoly on good ideas. So allowing everyone to vote and say, there's a reason, they're the tools. Why do you think that's the best? But it's also understanding that your Web3 audience might not be your Web2 audience, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, sorry to cut you off there, but yeah, the community is incredibly important as a litmus test for lots of things.
Moving on, we've talked about AI, we've talked about the tools, we've talked about the other things. So coming back to crypto and what's going on currently. So I'd love to know your thoughts on the ASI merger, given that Linq AI is also part of the Web3 AI industry, and 3 of the biggest projects have decided to merge. So what is your take on it, George?
If I'm honest, I've been so completely involved in what we're doing. It's not something I've really formed a huge opinion on. They all have their own internal reasons, regardless of whatever they put out as a company together. I imagine a lot of it was financially and hype related, but again, I wouldn't want to comment too much on that, because it would just be a subjective opinion of mine. But all I can say is that I think what it will do is you'll see a lot of the smaller AI projects that were in there for the hype and buzz fall by the wayside, and these big, sort of, that sort of super alliance, those type of things might be more common, over the next couple of years. But yeah, I'd be more curious to see how that unfolds over the next sort of a year or so. And I think the reasons, the true reasons might sort of bleed out from, over time.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with you on that, because this could be one of the, major events talking when we'll be, somewhere in 2027, 2028, we'll be talking about this thing happened back in 2024. So yeah, this could be a major thing, and the reasons could maybe unfold with time. So yeah, moving on. Yeah, so I'd just like to also ask you, what are your current thoughts on the crypto market, and does that impact how you function day in and day out at Linq AI? Does that, kind of change something, or does it remain the same?
Yeah, I mean, again, a bit of a cliche. It doesn't really change for us. If I'm honest, when everything's going well, it's much more distracting, because obviously the Telegram Discord explode into life. You're getting messaged, or you get all the spammers, you get the community, the new community members. So you're drawn into the Web3 world a bit more. But we've made a distinct separation that Logan and his development team just stay out of that altogether. You'll very rarely see them in any of the social channels on Twitter. They watch it, he'll look in, but he won't partake. And we wanted to make that differentiation because if things aren't going well at a time, it can weigh on you. It can weigh on you emotionally, because you sort of think, why is everyone doing this? What's going on? And we don't want it to, we do not want it to cause any slowdown for development, because that's how you gain traction, is by churning out when the times are rough, delivering when the times are good, delivering. Anyone can deliver. Anyone can be active, when everything's going well. So no, in short, it genuinely does not affect us. So yeah, we carry on with our work regardless.
That makes a lot of sense. Like when things are not going right, you should, just keep your emotions aside and do the thing you've been doing. So yeah, we'll be just concluding.
I mean, we've all been through it, haven't we? We've all been through 2021 and all those crashes, and you kind of, after a while, you build up a bit of a resilience to it, right? I said to Logan the other day, we were having a conversation. I said that I'm almost more comfortable when Germany's offloading Bitcoin at sort of just 10,000 casually, because I can then just disconnect to go back to doing what I'm doing work-wise. That excitement's not there, but it's also really important to talk to the community, because there are people there. It's only then that you realize how experienced you are in that space. You go back and talk to them, and they're like, why? And you can be that little bit of a voice of reason, because everyone, no matter who you are, likes for someone else to step in at some time when you're feeling a bit more vulnerable and say, it's fine. This is all manipulation. This is the big boys playing. Just chill, step away. And sometimes you need that.
Absolutely. When you're aware about the game, you don't panic. So yeah, like you mentioned. So just another question, just another fun question to just to wrap things up. So I'd like to ask you, like, what do you think about Capo tweeting bullish stuff about crypto and altcoins?
On who? Sorry, Capo.
Capo, yeah.
Capo. I think Capo knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he has just actually turned into a complete parody account. I think he does on purpose. I think he says exactly the opposite of what he thinks. I don't think he's dull enough, but it's painful to watch, right? Because when you go bullish on altcoins, but that's also, it's all about trading, right? Like, trading is all emotions. If everyone thinks people are going to sell, then everyone sells. So it's all kind of, he's either an absolute genius, or a moron. But I think it's the genius, if I'm honest. I think he's a genius. I think he's just winding everyone up. But who knows? What do you think?
I'm, as clueless as you are, and like...
No, I share the same sentiments, actually. That guy is too big, and he's been in the market for too long to be a moron and doing such.
And he's bang on. You can't be that wrong that much. Not even I'm wrong that much from reading. Like, he's wrong all the time. Like, I bet he counter trades himself, right? I bet he does. Definitely.
He exactly knows what he's doing. And like, I saw another tweet of him today. He was like, I am still bullish on altcoins. I was like, come on, we're going down again. Whenever he posts, the market dumps. So that's a good indicator. People are saying we need the capo indicator on trading view. So that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, George. Like, anything you'd like to say to the community, to the existing Linq AI community, or the people who might be watching this for the first time? So something to them, addressing them.
I'd say come into our groups, come into the chats, have a look at the website, take a look at us. Don't be that person that just blindly follows everyone else and apes their life savings and anything. Think about what you're doing, and I think come and ask the questions, and that's all we really ask for from the community perspective and I'd like to say thank you to the community. They've been incredibly mature. They've made life incredibly easy. When everything dumped, everyone just obviously stepped away from their keyboards and did their own thing. And the chart speaks for itself. So I won't talk about chart price, but I will say that when things do happen, they're very, very chill. Like we've been very lucky. So thank you to the community for making my life that little bit easier. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we could also be so grateful about the community we have too, right, Sahil? Because they've been supporting us every now and then, and just being there for us in these tough times. So yeah, really grateful to all the people.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are more mature this time out. I think the retail hasn't entered, the new retail hasn't entered so far, and the mature people, they know they've been through this in 2021. They've been through this in the previous years. So I think now the people who are in the communities right now, they are the mature ones. And again, the more the people which stay, sometimes off the keyboard, sometimes on the keyboard, but all of them are needed.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, this is the old batch still from 2021. Yeah, very much so.
So yeah, thank you for joining us today, George. It was great having you today here. So yeah, looking forward to more such conversations with you in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, no, appreciate your time, guys. As always, thank you very much.
Thank you, George.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.